Welcome to another weekly review of the Premier League fixtures. I want to start with probably what I feel is the most important game of this weekend. Not due to the magnitude of the match or the importance of the game, but due to the incidents that occurred after the game. I want to start with Leicester versus West Ham, 5:30 game on Saturday. The result was 1-1. West Ham taking a lead through Valbuena, Noble getting sent off, and Leicester with an 89th minute end of the game equaliser through Didi. Game wasn't particularly spectacular. The teams weren't particularly outstanding. But after the game, there was a tragic accident regarding Leicester City's owner, and I believe it's 4 other members, including the pilot, that were on board. And unfortunately, there was a helicopter accident whilst they were leaving the stadium, and no one survived. I just wanted to take time to pay my tribute and show my love and support towards the Leicester's, the community, the fans, the club, the players, the families of those that unfortunately lost their lives. It's a horrific event, and I feel like I had to start with this match and pay my support and pay my dues and respects. He was a fantastic owner. I quite liked him. He brought a lot to the game, especially for Leicester. Helped them win the title. He invested heavily in them. He believed in them. He backed them. And I think the players had a fantastic relationship with him. I don't think there was anyone that didn't want to be there, but and it is a great loss, and he's a great man. And rest in peace, and may God bless his soul wherever he may be now. And I don't want to sound cutthroat or disingenuous, but the review must go on, and rest in peace. But moving on to the next game, the biggest game of the week, probably, Monday Night Football, Tottenham Hotspurs versus Manchester City. Obviously both teams needed a win because playing on Monday, knowing the results of the whole weekend, must win for both clubs. As it were, Manchester City ran out 1-0 winners. I mean, I particularly had it down as 2-0, 3-0. Was more leaning towards the 2-0. It could have been 2-0. And I think Man City in the end were lucky to end up 1-0 victors. Spurs had their chances. In the first half, it was kind of cruising for Manchester City. It was kind of like, okay, they're bossing this a bit. Spurs did had 2 wonderful opportunities, but outside of those 2 wonderful opportunities, they didn't produce much. One of the opportunities was came through on goal, 1-on-1 with the keeper, and his touch let him down. Heavy touch, brought it into the keeper's path, who managed to make the clearance. Second chance was, I think it was Dembele that was through on goal. Dembele or Sissoko, I think it was Dembele through on goal, and he had options of 3 players to cut back to for them to sweep home for a simple tap in to an equaliser. And as it was, he chose the wrong option, misplaced his pass, and there was even a 4th option. The 4th option was him to go at it himself, have a shot. So there was 4 options for him. He chose, out of the 4 options, he chose the 5th option, which was the wrong option, which was completely made a hash of it. And even then, a cutback and sweep home was never easy because the conditions of the pitch wasn't well. It wasn't a very nice pitch. And being at the game, I was at the game, and I got to speak to some of the fans and etc. But a cutback isn't necessarily a guaranteed goal, as we saw with Lamela towards the end of the match. Was it about 78 minutes, maybe 80 minutes, and he got one cut back to him, and you thought, oh, he's going to tap that home, and that's 1-1, and the match's probably going to end 1-1. But no, he's blazed it over the bar. On a whole, I'd say a draw was probably a fair result. Man City did get away with it a bit. They did control the game for majority of it. Had very good spells. Had chances themselves. David Silva had a chance where he could have just he was literally cut back. It was an open goal, and stretched out to slot it home, but took a touch and the touch got away from him and it ended up not being, I don't know, I'm not quite sure what he was intended to do. He should have just threw himself at the ball, get it in, 2-0, game's done. But as it was, 1-0, Manchester City remained top of the table. Manchester City remain top of the table on goal difference, I believe it is, over Liverpool, who are second. And they will be happy. They will be very, very happy. That's now, 3 of the big 5 played. They've beaten Arsenal, they've beaten Tottenham, the 2 North London teams. They've played Liverpool and got a 0-0 draw there. Could have won with a missed Barnes penalty, but there's only 2 more to go, Man United and Chelsea. And then that's the big 5 teams that they've got to play out of the way, and they're still top of the table, so it's looking hard to topple them. Moving on from that game, Arsenal were at Crystal Palace 2-2, and I've talked about it previously and I said it over and over again, week in, week out. Arsenal look shaky at the back, defensively insecure. This is end games into the league season, and they've kept 2 clean sheets. They've conceded in 8 out of the 10 games. 8 out of the 10 games. And just off the top of my head, when they concede more than 1, I believe. They conceded 2 to Man City. They conceded 3 to Chelsea. 2 to Fulham. 2 to Cardiff. 3-2 victory against Cardiff. 4-2 against Fulham. That's off the top of my head, I believe. 2 to Crystal Palace now, and a 2-2 draw. So it's not even like they're conceding 1 and they're winning 3-4-1. They're conceding number amount of goals, and even against teams that are like newly promoted, such as Fulham, or teams that are in a relegation battle like Cardiff and Crystal Palace, they're conceding goals. These teams, it's frightening. The next game is against Liverpool. It's frightening to think what's going to happen. It could be 4, 5, 6 Arsenal of old. I mean, I've talked about it, and this is why personally I can't take them seriously as title contenders or title challengers, because defensively they're not there. They need to improve at the back. They need to get better defenders or defend better, learn to defend better. Crystal Palace were superb. I think they were superb. Their football was good. It was flowing. And Arsenal struggled at the back at times, especially against Zaha and his pace and trickery. Both the goals came from Mihajlovic penalty kicks. So Arsenal conceding 2 penalties, just not being able to vent in and around their box, just incapable. And it didn't help with Xhaka playing that left back. I think he conceded the second penalty. Obviously not a natural defender, not a natural left back. Makeshift defender, and it really showed out there. He did get a goal before he conceded the penalty. Fantastic free kick. Thumped it home, and Aubameyang scoring the second, taking Arsenal 2-1 up after going a goal behind to Mihajlovic's penalty, but then equalised again through the penalty spot, and game ending 2-2. Not a good result for Arsenal if they want to push on and try and secure top 4 and try and be talked about as title contenders, which I don't think they are. But it was a disappointing result. It's a game that they expected to win and should win. Man United were at home to Everton. I had this down as a draw. Man United could possibly push for a win. So could Everton. It could have swung either way. The result was close. It was 2-1 to Man United. Controversial penalty from Anthony Martial. A lot saying he dived, some saying that he didn't dive. Not enough contact. He only dived. It's a controversial penalty, but Pogba took the penalty and he actually missed the penalty. It was actually saved by Pickford, and he tapped home the rebound. It was unfortunate that his penalty saved fell back to Pogba. Pogba tapped home the rebound, and he would be delighted with that goal. Not necessarily in the manner that he scored it in, but delighted that he put Man United 1-0 up. Then Anthony Martial scored the second. Beautiful killing shot. He seems to be finding a little bit of form at the moment, keeping Sanchez out the side. Lukaku was benched this game. I think Rashford started up top with Martial and Mata either side of him. And then, yeah, with Man United taking a 2-0 lead, Sigurdsson then dispatched a penalty that was won in about the 77th minute, 2-1, nervy ending for United. Martial could have scored at the death. There was 6 minutes of stoppage time. Anything could have happened. Could have ended 2-2. Could have ended 3-1. Match ended 2-1. Man United, no one will be happier than Man United this week getting that win. Crucial 3 points, crucial win. Took them above Everton, pushing on, and I think the aim now is for them is to get into the top 4, get that Champions League spot, you know, top 4. I don't think they can realistically ask for more in the league this season. Maybe in other competitions, possibly they can demand more because of the poor league form, but they can't ask much more than top 4. We had Chelsea away to Burnley, 4-0 thumping. Not really much to say. It was comfortable, and it was all without Hazard. Hazard didn't even make the match day squad. Didn't even make the bench, and it's 4-0. I think Willian, Loftus-Cheek off the bench scored. Ross Barkley doing a madness out there, and Morata getting a very, very rare goal. 4 different goal scorers, but Ross Barkley getting a goal and a couple assists. Yeah, a goal and a couple assists, doing the madness out there. Chelsea looking comfortable out there, looking comfortable. Burnley's not the same Burnley of last season. Looking shaky, looking nervous. They're going to stay up. The quality is definitely there. They got the quality to stay up, and there's definitely worse teams out there than Burnley. We had Liverpool in action. They were at home to Cardiff, and I was predicting big 3-4-5-0 thumping. It was 4-1. It was 4-1. A rare conceded goal from them. They usually keep lots of cliches. Rare goal conceded from Liverpool. Mane 2 goals, continuing his form. Had a bit of a dip recently. Had about 4 or 5 games without a goal, but you know he's back. 2 goals from him. Goal from Salah. Goal from Shaqiri off the bench. Liverpool were comfortable. It was actually 1-0 at half time. And they could have been 3-4 up. Some seriously missed chances. 2-0 up in the second half. Cardiff pulled one back, and Liverpool said, okay, we're not having it. Shaqiri comes on, he gets a goal, and Mane rounds it up, and, 4-1. Typical Liverpool fashion. I mean, it's a lot of goals scored by the big teams. I think Arsenal's on 24, Man City's on about 27, Chelsea's on 24 as well, and Liverpool's on about 25, 26. A lot of goals being scored. A lot of goals being scored this season. A lot of informed players. Elsewhere, we had Watford. They entertained. Let's double check. Watford entertained Huddersfield. Predicted easy game for them, to be honest. Huddersfield have been very, very poor this season. Actually, shockingly poor. Comfortable 3-0 win for Watford. Comfortable 3-0 win. I think Pereira opening up the floodgates for them. Second goal being scored by Delafeu scoring. And rounded off by Success, who's having a successful season. Haha. No pun intended. Elsewhere we had Fulham, who were at home to Bournemouth. Now, Fulham need to pick up some form from somewhere. Now, I know Bournemouth are in hot form. They're like 2-3 points from Champions League places. I mean, they're even Europa League places at the moment, but they're having a cracking season. Especially their front line. Wilson, Josh King, Fraser, they're having a blinding season. 10 games in. And Fulham here thumped 3-0. Wilson with a brace, and Brooks to round it off. Brooks is having a decent season himself, so Brooks and Wilson at the double, and it's still a season for them. But Fulham again, I think that's 0 clean sheets this season. It's just goals conceded after goals conceded after goals conceded after goals conceded. It's like it's actually poor. It's actually poor. And I think Huddersfield and Fulham play next weekend. I believe Fulham, Huddersfield. And it couldn't be two worse teams playing against each other. Both are going to need a win. But God forbid that ends a draw, 0-0 or 1-1 or something. Both would be doomed. Oh man, shocking. Fulham are terrible, man. Actually awful. Southampton, Newcastle, predicted that was going to be a 0-0. I honestly couldn't see a goal coming from either side, man. It was 0-0. I mean, I don't really have much to say about that game. Both are very boring at the moment. Southampton more in particular. Newcastle trying to be a bit more expansive, a bit more open, but it's a boring game nonetheless. No goals, no excitement, no massive incident in the game to speak about. I mean, it was just what you typically call a bore draw. It's literally a bore draw, 0-0. The draw would hurt Newcastle more. They needed the points more than Southampton at this time. There's a few teams that are in trouble at the moment, Newcastle being one of them, along with Fulham, Huddersfield, and probably Crystal Palace. But at some point, one of them is going to get a win, surely. I mean, when was the last time any of them won? When did Huddersfield... Newcastle... It's actually poor. It's the top and the bottom of the table is such different contrast. Win, everyone's winning. And at the bottom, it's just lose. They're not even picking up points. It's actually shocking. The real contrast, man. I mean, even Bournemouth are winning. Final game, Brighton versus Wolves. I had another 0-0, possibly Brighton 1-0. Wolves started the season very well, getting a draw to United, getting a draw to Man City, picking up a couple wins, and their form's kind of just dipped off, falling away. 1-0 Brighton, as it stands, 1-0 Brighton. Murray with the goal, and he's having a cracking season. He's having a really good season. Literally, they're going to have to heavily rely on him. But he's not the only one. The goalkeeper, Matty Ryan. That's what I call him, Matty Ryan. He's having a good season too. He's having a very good season. He's a very good goalkeeper, actually. He's actually a decent goalkeeper. I'd probably say he's about like the 6th or 7th best keeper in the league. He's pretty decent. Yeah, Brighton will be delighted with the 3 points. I mean, Wolves won't be too disheartened. I mean, I know they're away from home, but they've had such a good start. I mean, they'll feel like they're in a stable position at the moment. They just would hope that their form doesn't dip too far down and it doesn't continue for too long, because then they could find themselves into problems, especially if some of the other teams that are struggling find some form. But no, they're alright. Brighton are definitely alright. I think my predictions were pretty close. Personally, that's why I think they were pretty close. I mean, if you listen to me, you place a little wager, you could have won some cash. That's what I think anyway. But what do you think? Who are the teams that are in trouble? Who are the teams that are thriving? Is Bournemouth spectacular form a surprise to you? Did you expect this? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and follow us on all the platforms, Facebook, Snapchat, all of that, and stay tuned.